Hi, my name is Steve Sprinkles, and I'm from San Jose, California. The first time I realized I wanted to be an artist was when I was a kid. My dad took me to see a movie called My Bodyguard. And when we came home, I drew a picture from the movie, and my grandmother thought it was really great, and she put it on the refrigerator. And they made a big deal out of it, and I just went, I want more of that. Somewhere around high school was when I figured, well, I'm gonna be a comic book artist, that's what I'll do. And then when I was 18, I went to WonderCon up in Oakland, and they asked me how quickly I did the pages I showed them. And I told them that each page took about 8 hours, and they said it has to be a lot more than that. So I went back to school and I took some filmmaking classes at De Anza College, and I was lucky enough to have a great teacher there, Zach Elisha, who believed in me. And I knew motion graphics was a thing, but I didn't really know much about it. So I got a copy of After Effects and I started figuring it out. And I just spent every night, I'd come home from work and I'd try to make something in After Effects. About the time I was finishing the film program at De Anza, one of our assignments was to go out and interview somebody in the field you'd like to go into. And so I talked to an editor at a place called Fatbox. Had a nice interview with him for about 2 hours. And at the end I asked him, hey, I'm close to graduating from this program and I'm working on a demo reel. Can I show it to you when I'm done and get some feedback? And he said, absolutely. So a couple months later, I finished up my reel and I sent it off to him. And the owner of the company saw it and he offered me a gig. And that was my first job. I think what I love most about what I do is making things that people haven't seen. And not necessarily that they've never seen anything like it, but I've taken something and I've added my distinct view to it or my distinct sensibility to it, and then turned it back out. And it's something that just has enough of me in it that there's a new flavor to it. And I think that's our job as artists. Everything that is available to be done has been done. Our job is to do it a little different and do it a little better. And when I can do that, I am just the happiest guy in the world. My process for working involves a lot of this. I just I stare at the monitor for a really, really long time and try to just think and think. And I've said over and over again that I think people walk by and it looks like I do nothing. But I swear to God, I'm actually thinking about the problem. I'm really a big believer in planning. And if you think about it twice and you only have to do it once, you're in a much better position. I think a lot of times we spend too much time just trying to hurry up and get it done. Whereas if we had taken a step back, thought about it a little bit ahead of time, done a little more planning, we would have been able to actually do it faster and better the first time. I think my favorite trick is Control-Alt-F. I didn't know that one for an embarrassingly long time. I was actually working for probably about 2 years before, and I would, drop in a piece of footage, and sometimes your footage at that point was still standard definition, and we had to do HD blow-ups. So I'd sit there and I'd scale it up, and I'd learn the numbers about, okay, it's 100 and X%. And then one day, the creative director dropped in a piece of footage, Control-Alt-F, and there it is, full frame. And I had to ask, how was that done? And it's a little embarrassing because it seemed like such a basic thing, and he kind of treated it like, how do you not know this? But that's the thing about a program like After Effects, is there's always something you don't know. And there's always something that you can learn from somebody else. I think the favorite thing I've worked on so far was probably doing the Disney Castle. I worked for about 2 years on a projection show down in Orlando. And it was a 10-minute show. A bunch of other artists worked with me on it as well, but I got to be the one to go down and do the installs. And you'd get to work at Disney World at night, have these giant projectors projecting on the Disney Castle, and you'd get to watch your animations. And, someone who grew up a Disney kid, that was pretty special.